Hello, Bill here, a registered nurse from the beautiful country of Ghana. I'm temporarily enjoying my stay here in the UK as a nurse before I go back to Ghana in the coming years. In this video, I'll walk you through some of the essential steps and tips to make your dream of traveling overseas a reality. Most of us here are professionals waiting to secure our dream jobs abroad or take part in conferences or either visit our favorite places of tourists. I know some of us too have put in job applications and are waiting for the outcome. Whichever your situation is, you are in the right place and you might need some of this useful information to augment your dream. Without wasting much time, let's look at some 10 steps you need to get right before you make your dream come to pass. Now, the first step is research and planning. First thing first, you have to do your homework. Research the countries that have demand for your profession or job, whether you are a nurse, a teacher, or any other profession you are in. Look out for favorable working conditions, which also have straight pathways that you can afford. I know some of the pathways are very difficult to navigate, and some of them you can't even find your way about. So you just have to consider all these factors, and you have to also consider factors like language, culture, healthcare system, cost of living, and so on. New Zealand, Australia, USA, Canada, and UK are mostly the top picks when nurses, teachers, and other professionals are looking to migrate, mainly due to the fact that they speak English and it's easy to integrate into their system. And if you are looking to consider Germany, that is also cool because their new pathway require not only German, but you can also use your English proficiency if you are not a German speaker. And also, not all of us will be going to countries to work. So if you want to visit a tourist destination, you also have to familiarize yourself with the necessary documentation and the process that is needed. For conferences, you have to note that there are ones that are easy to secure invitation letters. So you have to be looking out for all of these things and you have to plan ahead. Now let's look at the second tip. The second tip is quite straightforward. You need to get your documents ready and they should be in date. Your birth cert and passport should be in date. They seem to be basic documents that we have to get in order to travel. Now, let me tell you a story. 3 years when UK care homes were actively recruiting, a manager in a care home I did part-time was impressed with how I work and she wanted to hire me, but I told her, you can't afford me to work permanently for you. So she requested that I get her someone from Ghana. And I spoke to a friend, he already has IELTS and CBT ready. He did his interview and he became successful. And guess what? His passport was a month to expiry. And we all know that before you can travel, you have to make sure that your passport is 6 months away from expiry. And you also know that in Ghana, there is a system where you can fast track your passport and you can even get your passport within a week. But the manager refused to hire my friend, and she explained that my friend can never be trusted because he does not pay attention to detail. Even though he passed the interview, this could be a red flag. I was very shocked and I pleaded on his behalf, but her answer was negative. This explains why we have to make sure all our documents are intact. Just because you have a passport does not mean you should not check your expiry date. You have to make sure that all these things are intact. Now, let's look at the third point. And the third point is to build good relations and be nice to strangers. Some of the points that I'm raising are quite funny, but let me explain what I mean by this. Somewhere in the late 2011, whilst I was waiting for my nursing licensure result, Facebook was the most popular social media. We used to chat a lot using an app called eBuddy. I don't know if anyone remember that app. It used to be very popular. It's just like Messenger. So one of these days when I was on Facebook, I got a message from a stranger who later became my boss. He exposed me to a lot of opportunities, and through him I met researchers, advocates, scientists from various parts of the world. And he got me my first South African visa. Then after some time, I got my Schengen visas and US visa. So I remember saying hi to him and I asked where he is and what he was doing. So he replied that I'm drunk and I'm in South Africa. And then I laughed and I said, who is this guy? Well, fast forward, we became very good friends. We spoke about what he does, and which he said he was into HIV research and human rights advocacy. I remember he asked me about how much I receive monthly and how much I have in my account. I remember, I think I have those chats still in my messenger. So he told me he owned an NGO where he put nurses on some of his projects. And as time goes by, he got me a South African visa and he kept reassuring me. He told me nurses are in high demand in America, Germany, and Canada. And this was around 2015. Well, a lot happened in between, but I am just much concerned about how we met. This was purely by accident and it was through Facebook. So all that I want to say is just be nice to strangers and build connections with everyone, and do not look at people's appearance or how they look, because everyone has something you might need in future. And let's not forget that whilst opening up to people, let's beware of scammers, because these days social media is infiltrated with a lot of scammers and people who want to extort from us. Now this brings us to the fourth point, which is a bit similar to the one I just spoke about, and it's about having mentors. Whatever we want to do, we should have people who have done similar stuff and can help us to avoid mistakes that they did. So I have a friend and she's a midwife. She wanted to be a carer so badly and she didn't know what to do. So she recently sent me her IELTS results. And I was surprised because I thought she would let me know she was going to write IELTS. She not telling me proud to writing the exam wasn't my problem, but she wrote the wrong test, which was not relevant to the pathway she wanted to use it for. So I asked her why she didn't ask me the text she had to write. And she replied, "I wanted to surprise you." And I said, "Yes, well, you indeed surprised me, because not only did you get low band scores, you also wrote the wrong IELTS test." So all that I'm trying to say is that if you like what someone is doing, get close to them, get second thoughts from them, learn from their mistakes, and that is the way forward. And please do not ask for money when you have someone mentoring you. Ask for genuine help, because this will ginger them to give you all the information you need. The more you ask for money, the more your relationship gets bad. For example, when a genuine pathway surfaces, they might feel reluctant to tell you because they might think you are going to ask them to fund the whole process. So please understand that your mentor is not your financier unless they decide to do so. So please stay in your lane and let them also do their best to help you. And now this brings us to the fifth point. So the fifth point is having your qualification up to the international standard. This may involve additional certifications or passing exams like NCLEX if you are going to the US, Canada or Australia, or IELTS and OET for your English proficiency. And you have to look at specific countries, and you have to know which exam that you want to write. Now let me once again emphasize on the power of IELTS. If you are a nurse or any other professional looking to have permanent residency in another country, do not underestimate the power of IELTS or OET. I know these exams can sound dreadful to our ears, not because of how difficult it is, but also the cost involved. So just save towards it and make it happen. You can also check our IELTS playlist in the description and familiarize yourself with some of the top tips in order to do well in your IELTS exam. And also, when registering for the exam, make sure that you have to register for the correct one. Don't be like my friend Lace. If you want to practice as a nurse in the UK and in most countries, IELTS UKVI academic will be ideal. You can also use this exam for any care assistant roles in the UK, Canada, and other places. Now let's look at the sixth point. Make money and save towards your travel. This is particularly important as you may need bank statement, and at a point you'll be required to produce one. I understand how difficult it is to rely solely on your meager salaries to make your dreams a reality, but you have to save towards it. You don't have any choice. Even some companies in UK will want you to fund the entire process before they reimburse it to you later on. So if you have some monies on standby, it will make the entire process smooth. And if you are traveling for pleasure or for a conference, airfare is not cheap, and also, as I said earlier on, it is important to have mentors so that they can also help you with some of the requirement when it comes to bank statement. You can get a sponsor bank statement to help you in some of these travels. Don't worry, because I'm working on a video where I will explain a side hustle I was into in Ghana, which made me comfortable, and it's still making me some pounds. Even though I'm in UK here, I make the money back home and I get the pound equivalence here, and I'll show you very shortly in the subsequent videos. So in short, save and invest when the time comes, so that you can fund your process yourself. Now this brings us to the seventh point, which is also very important. It's all about getting the right information. We are in a world of social media where information regarding traveling, learning, education can be accessed within a click. So as we try to seek greener pastures, let's go online and get updated with the current information. I always entreat people to do it themselves, and it really saves you money, time, and also you can learn along the way. But we should also not consume any information that we see online. We have to always go to the right sources. When it comes to conferences, traveling, nursing, IELTS, you can rely on this channel to get the best. So if you haven't subscribed, kindly subscribe and let's continue. All right, thank you for subscribing. I recently did a video about fake conferences that is duping a lot of people all over the world. So if you haven't watched that video and you are looking for a conference and you come across this dubious conference, you can be scammed. And you can easily fall for all of these scams. There are channels. Nanelle Griselda also has been a mentor and a power hub for reliable UK immigration news, and she creates other good contents. There are other channels that also have more educative information, and when you are looking for finance, you can rely on Diaspora Career and Investment on YouTube here. So you can subscribe to these channels to get the correct info. There are other channels who also portray thumbnails as if they have the jobs that they are talking about in their pocket, but the information they release are scanty and vague. So take note of all these and subscribe to the right channels. Go to the best website with very good reviews for the information relating to whatever you are looking for. For example, if you want an NCLEX trainer, you just have to look out for the best. USRN Elite is one of the best in Africa. They are in Ghana, but they teach nurses from all over the world. They have taught nurses from India, Philippines, Kenya, Ghana, UK, and USA. I'll leave their contact and their YouTube links in the description. Now let's talk about the 8th point. The 8th point is to build good LinkedIn profile and have a professional email. Now let me also explain this with my story. When I met my boss back in the days, who recruited me into his NGO, my email address was livewithconvict@hotmail.com. So he advised me to change it, but I didn't, because I said to myself, I have used this email for a long time, so changing it is going to affect some of my documentation and applications I've made in the past. But when I sent a research proposal to a senior nurse researcher in the US, they called my boss and asked if that was really me. Now let's analyze my email address. Livewithconvict. When I was in senior high school, I was nicknamed Convict because I used to sing a lot of Akon songs. And a convict is someone who has been found guilty of a crime. As someone living in the States and he knows more about crime and convict and all these people, he was concerned about someone like me being on his research team. Just imagine if I've applied to a job on my own with that email address. What would the outcome be? And recently I used another email address. I have another email address which is celebritynurse@yahoo.com. I used it to apply for a role, and the hiring manager during the interview told me that he wanted to know who was behind that email because it sounds catchy. Even though this particular email got me the attention that I needed, it's not professional. So to be on the safer side, use your names in your emails, and this is particularly important when you're doing visa applications also. And you have to put the hiring managers in a neutral position so that they won't judge you based on your email address. So you can just put your two names together and that will be it. You can create a simple email address from that. And also, most hiring managers these days look at your LinkedIn profile, Facebook, and other pages. They want to check your lifestyle, and some of them will also try to look out for some posts that you've made. So make sure that you don't post any hate speech on your social media accounts and keep them clean. Now let's look at the 9th point. The 9th point is very important. It says keep learning and make progress while waiting for the opportunity. What opportunity am I talking about? Traveling, going for conferences, or going somewhere as a tourist? Some of us who want to travel overseas become so fixated on the whole process that we do not even try to make other moves. We become so fixated on moving overseas and we forget to pursue other dreams. Let me use myself as an example in this case. After nursing school, I wanted to travel so badly, and I did not direct my thoughts on furthering my education in Ghana. I wanted to work overseas and did not have any proper plan for myself back home. And worst of all, I did not put myself in school early enough. Neither did I immediately engage in any business setup. I thought all of this is going to come easy, and when I realized it wasn't, I started my degree, which I could not finish because I had to leave Ghana to the UK. And this was something I could have done between 2012 and 2016. But I started in 2017 and could not finish. Now, this is case dependent, and there are retrogression when it comes to NCLEX. Someone told me that they've been waiting to travel to US for over 2 years. UK too is not actively recruiting, and some of the other countries do not have an easy pathway that you can travel within months and even years. And worst of all, some people worry about their degrees being recognized in overseas countries. Why should you worry when even our nursing diplomas are recognized? Why should you worry about your nursing degree or your other degree? So let's not only be fixated on education, it can also be setting a business or any other thing that you have genuine interest in. We have to know that whatever we want to do, there are genuine excuses we can give, and we can make zero progress. So the key is to set goals and achieve them, and whilst waiting for your day to be current, if you want to travel to the US, or while waiting for you to have your Ministry of Health clearance, whilst you are waiting for your NMC verification and so on, you have to make progress. You have to set goals, set other goals. You want to travel to the US. That's good. But what are you doing currently to improve yourself? Get some businesses going so that you can boost your financial strength. I won't dwell much on this. You can go and watch my video on how to set smart goals and achieve them. I'll leave a link in the description. So in short, all that I want to say is to do other progressive stuff. Set up small businesses, do your top up in nursing or education, get married, get your girlfriends pregnant, and so on. Just do something positive. Do something that whilst you are in the waiting, you can also boast that whilst I was waiting to get this done, I also did this. And if you are relocating to the UK and you are waiting to get some employment, you can also go on to Florence Academy and do some online courses, and this puts you in a good position. Now let's look at the final point. The final point is to become consistent and patient. In everything you do, you have to be consistent. I always try to explain all these things with my real life example. So my kid brother's friend, he's called Pele. He recently visited us here in the UK and he has gotten a job in Scotland. So I asked him how he was able to do this. And he said, "You told me to apply to 12 jobs daily on my own." I told him some months ago to do all this on his own. And whilst he was applying to these many jobs in a day, he was placed on standby in one of the care homes in Scotland, and he kept applying to 12 companies daily. And after 6 months, he got a call from the manager that placed him on standby, and she asked him if he was still available. And this was something that he did by himself. He did not pay any recruiter to do it on his behalf. Again, when I met my boss, it took me 7 years for my first international opportunity. So sometimes we have no excuse at all. And whilst we do all the above, whilst we do everything from point 1 to point 9, let's try to have patience. And I know it's easier said than done, but whilst waiting, engage yourself in something profiting. If you are writing NCLEX or IELTS, do not give up. There are hurdles along the way, I know. Those ups and downs makes our journey interesting. You can also watch how I passed my IELTS after 7 attempts in my IELTS playlist. Alright. Thank you for sticking around till the end, and I hope you found these tips on getting ready to travel overseas very helpful and inspiring. Remember that this journey is more than just reaching your new destination. It's about preparing yourself for a life-changing adventure. Make sure that all your documents are in order. As I stated earlier, you have to also start saving, and don't forget to get those necessary certifications and education. Every step, as I've mentioned, bring you a step closer to exploring your new world and experiencing new cultures. And also note that moving overseas or moving abroad is not always the road to success. You can set up your own business and be comfortable in whichever country you are. But if you really want to relocate overseas, then you have to do it right and get the right visa. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more travel tips and inspiration. And if you have any questions or tips of your own, drop them in the comment section. We love hearing from you. And finally, if you are in Germany, link up, because the whole team is coming to Munich this July for the ACE conference. Alright, so keep dreaming big, stay motivated, and soon you'll be on your way to making incredible memories overseas. Safe travels, and until next time, keep exploring.